Good evening and a very warm welcome. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. I am Theruni Karunaratna. Let's start off with the headlines for tonight. Talks continue with United States to further ease tariff rates. Prime Minister says. Son of parliamentarian Jagat Vitana arrested in connection with illegal jeep. Calls for Samagi Janabalawegya reform grow louder. Frontline socialist party speaks on attempts to strengthen the opposition. Southwest monsoon begins. Strong winds expected in several areas. Public urged to remain cautious. Trinity College remains unbeaten with victory against St. Thomas's College in schools rugby league. On to those stories in detail. Talks are currently underway between United States authorities and a delegation from Sri Lanka with the objective of further reducing the 30% reciprocal tariff imposed by the United States on Sri Lankan exports. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya also commented on the progress of these discussions while attending a program held today in Galle.
Discussions are still ongoing regarding the tariffs and nothing has been finalized yet. As you know, the previous rate of 44% was reduced to 30%. We also discussed this further during yesterday's Zoom meeting and we are continuing efforts to reduce the rate even further. Process to further reduce the 30% tariff imposed by the United States on Sri Lankan goods was recently initiated. As part of this process, a significant amount of data has already been exchanged between the two parties. A discussion was held yesterday, during which Sri Lanka was represented by a delegation led by Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, Secretary to the Ministry of Finance. The discussion was coordinated by the Sri Lankan Embassy in the United States. The Ministry of Finance stated that the government aims to successfully conclude a trade agreement between the United States and Sri Lanka before the 1st of August. US President Donald Trump initially imposed a 44% tariff on imports from Sri Lanka. Following earlier discussions between the two countries, this was reduced to 30%. This 30% tariff is scheduled to be implemented starting on the 1st of August. However, the Sri Lankan government continues to engage in discussions with the United States in an effort to reduce the tariff rate even further.
Several associations representing the export sector shared their views on the tariffs imposed by the United States and how they intend to respond. They made these remarks during the annual conference of the Sri Lanka Shippers Council held in Colombo.
Compared to other countries in the region, Sri Lanka is in a relatively strong position with the reduction from 44% to 30%. From our discussions with the President at the Presidential Secretariat, we learned that Sri Lanka has agreed to offer certain concessions to the United States as much as possible with exporting goods and services. However, the government has made it clear that there are limits, particularly when it comes to the country's sovereignty, territorial integrity and national security. Within those boundaries, though, discussions are ongoing. Additionally, if concessions can be secured under the HS codes, it would allow Sri Lanka to further expand its range of exports to the US. The average tariffs on apparel exports to the United States ranging between 15 and 20% have been in place previously as well. As a country, we need to focus on developing our export industry. We should not rely solely on exporting to the United States, but also explore other markets to fill that gap. At the same time, there are several challenges hindering exports from Sri Lanka, such as non-tariff barriers and policy-related issues. These problems must be addressed urgently. We need to reduce production costs, improve efficiency and increase our exports, not only to the US, but to other countries as well.
These were the remarks made today by Minister of Transport, Highways, Ports and Civil Aviation Bimal Ratnayaka regarding the tariffs imposed on Sri Lanka.
The government is sending a new team to continue discussions aimed at further reducing these tariffs. Although the United States has not formally negotiated a specific agreement yet, they have presented some proposals. They have indicated that tariff relief will be granted on certain products, not a full 30% reduction across the board, but for some items. However, one thing we must say is that no agreement has been signed yet, not even a draft, in the talks with the United States. Ultimately, the final decision rests within the US president. As a government, we are working officially and steadily on this. I believe we can move forward with a plan that allows us to secure this relief. Moreover, we have been making efforts to obtain tariff concessions from the US for several months now. When this process began, the president established a special committee that included not only government party members but also opposition MPs. After that, we have investigated whether this tariff affects jobs in our garment sector, and if so, how the government can assist private sector workers affected by it. We have prepared some proposals in this regard. However, whether those proposals will be implemented depends on the final tariff amount and the final agreement reached concerning these tariffs. Therefore, this is not a matter of simply ending things for Sri Lanka or giving up. There is no need for that. We are committed to playing this game responsibly and continuing our efforts. We believe our delegation will succeed in obtaining the additional relief we need.
The marking of boundaries for 48 ancient tanks across the country commenced today. Deputy Minister of Land and Irrigation, Dr. Susil Ranasinghe, announced that boundary surveys and demarcation for 22 tank reserves will be completed within this year alone.
The ceremonial launch of the boundary marking for tank reserves took place today in Anuradhapura. To mark the occasion, boundary marking of the Anuradhapura Nuwaravava Tank Reserve was carried out today with blessings from the Mahasangha.
Today we are launching something that should have been done nearly 50 years ago. Something that was due around 1980. Over the past 5 decades, due to political interference and pressure, this issue has become increasingly complicated and muddled. Now 50 years later, when we try to take action, we are faced with a very complex situation. If a government like ours doesn't take steps to protect the tank reserves and in turn the tanks themselves, then who will? We are not influenced by personal ties or political connections in this matter. What we are committed to is the public mandate we've been given. In this initial phase, we've selected 48 tanks that require surveying and official boundary marking. Within this year alone, work on 22 of these tanks will be carried out. The necessary funding for this has already been allocated. We aim to complete boundary marking and install demarcation posts for 22 tanks this year. These include tanks in the district of Anuradhapura, Hambantota, Gaul, Trincomalee, Mana and Polonnaruwa, specifically Giritale, Minneriya, Tabbova, Ramadilla, Nuwaravava in Anuradhapura and Irakkamam. The key message we are sending today is that there is no longer any political will or permission to grab land within tank reserves. From here onwards, we need a nationwide movement and serious public discourse around this issue. Tank reserves must not be allowed to be destroyed beyond this point.
Meanwhile, Minister of Agriculture and Irrigation K.D. Lalkantha stated that all individuals currently residing illegally within tank reserves now have the opportunity to voluntarily vacate these lands starting from today.
Special search operations launched to track down organized criminals and drug traffickers are currently being carried out continuously across the island. A total of 1,461 suspects have been arrested during these operations.
During an operation carried out last night in Vallampitiya, 26 suspects involved in drug trafficking were taken into custody. Houses of identified drug traffickers were also searched during the operation, and several individuals connected to drug trafficking and other criminal activities were arrested. The operation was carried out with the support of the Sri Lanka Army, Air Force, Gotatua and Mulleriyawa Police and a special motorcycle unit from the police department. Police officers from Valigama and Mathura along with Tri-Forces personnel conducted a search operation last night in Maduragoda, Valigama. During the operation, 5 individuals were arrested in possession of heroin and 3 individuals were taken into custody with crystal methamphetamine or ice. In addition, 5 individuals with outstanding arrest warrants and 35 other suspects were apprehended in connection with various criminal activities. In a separate operation conducted by officers from the Kaluthara Crimes Division, an organised gang member, Gayan Prabhat alias Gal Ibba, was arrested in Bopitiya, Mathugama, along with a quantity of crystal methamphetamine or ice. Police say that the suspect had previously resided in Dubai and had been deported due to multiple allegations. A mobile phone believed to have been used for drug trafficking was also found in the suspect's possession and taken into custody. The street value of the seized ice is estimated to be around 1.1 million rupees. Meanwhile, Minister of Public Security Anand Vijaypal says that the island-wide search operations targeting organised criminals are being conducted continuously. These operations are being carried out jointly by the Tri-Forces, Police and Special Task Force. Approximately 14,000 members of the security forces were deployed since the 11th of this month to carry out special search operations. A total of 1,461 suspects have been arrested during these operations so far. This includes 810 individuals with court-issued arrest warrants and 621 individuals with open warrants. Under this crime and drug eradication operation, a total of 3,283 suspects have been arrested within just 7 days. Between the 11th and 17th of July, a total of 1,006 individuals were arrested specifically in connection with heroin-related offences.
Meanwhile, Rasika Buddhikavithana, son of parliamentarian Jagat Vithana, was arrested in Mathugama in connection with an illegal jeep. Police media spokesperson, Assistant Superintendent of Police Frederick Wurteler said that Rasika Buddhikavithana was arrested this evening by a team from the Valana Anti-Corruption Unit. With that, let's move on to more local news for tonight. Acting Inspector General of Police Attorney Priyantha Veerasurya says that steps are currently being taken to introduce a new salary structure for police officers starting next year. He made this statement while attending an event in Ratnapura today.
A program to distribute school supplies and cash vouchers to the children of police officers from the Ratnapura and Sitavaka police divisions was organized today at the Ratnapura district secretariat.
It is through sacrifices that these children have gained access to education. In the same spirit, we hope to streamline the duties of police officers, enhance their performance and highlight the importance of their role as a vital public service. We are also working to provide privileges that officers have not received thus far. It's well known that police officers are paid relatively low salaries. We have brought this issue to the attention of the President, and as a result, steps are now being taken to introduce a new salary structure starting next year. We also expect police officers to continue performing their duties at a high standard.
The report of the investigative committee appointed to look into Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Thennakoon is scheduled to be handed over to the Speaker of Parliament next week. The committee says that the preparation of this report, which includes recommendations as well, is currently in its final stages.
The investigative committee appointed to examine and report on the allegations of misconduct and serious abuse of power by Deshabandhu Thennakoon recently concluded its evidence-gathering phase. The committee is chaired by Supreme Court Justice Preeti Padman Surasena. Other members include Chairman of the Bribery Commission, retired Justice Neil Iddavala, and Chairman of the National Police Commission, EWM Lalit Eknaika, along with several other members.
On to another headline-making news item tonight. The Met Department says that windy conditions are expected to intensify across several parts of the island. Director General Atula Karunanayaka says that this situation is due to the activation of the southwest monsoon.
Last night, a fisherman aboard a multi-day fishing vessel that departed from the Beruwala fishing harbour on the 15th of July went missing overboard during rough weather. The vessel carried 5 fishermen and was hit by turbulent sea conditions. The missing fisherman is a 35-year-old father of 2 from Beruwala. strong winds also affected Chilau. A fishing boat that departed from the Chilau estuary lost stability and capsized, but 3 fishermen on board were rescued by another vessel. However, another boat that set out from Chilau is believed to be missing. Early this morning, strong winds caused several fishing boats to be washed ashore along the port city coast from Dehibala. Meanwhile, in the western slopes of the central hills, heavy rains brought sharp reductions in visibility, intense winds and dust on the Colombo-Nuwara Eliya main road. Officials report that the water level of the Kandalama reservoir has reached an alert level. What is causing this weather change?
This marks the onset of the northeast monsoon, active from May to September, affecting the entire country. With the monsoon's influence today, we expect isolated heavy rain or thunderstorms in districts such as Sabaragamuwa, Central, Galle and Mathura. Light showers may occur in the western, northwestern and north-central provinces.
The Department of Meteorology warns of a possible increase in windy conditions across the island.
The instability originating in the lower atmosphere over the Bay of Bengal is the primary cause of this. This instability increases wind speeds from the northeast. As cloud cover reduces, wind gusts may uproot trees or break branches.
Meanwhile, the Department of Meteorology has issued a warning that wind speeds in coastal areas from Putlam to Colombo, Galle, from Putlam through Colombo, Galle, Hambantota to Pothuwil could reach 60 to 70 kilometers per hour over the next 24 hours. Fishing and marine communities are advised to avoid seafaring activities during this period. Trinity clinches Canon RS Deserum Shield in style.
SJB MP Dayasiri Jayasekara stated that although he is not a member of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya, he will continue to work within the Samagi Jana Sandhanaya. He further noted that moving forward, he intends to focus on independently reorganizing the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
I
want to clarify that I am not a member of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya. I contested the last election as a candidate from the Sri Lanka Freedom Party under the banner of the Samagi Jana Sandhanaya. Meanwhile, another group from our party contested under the cylinder symbol. However, that does not mean I have taken membership in the SJB. It is a separate political party and they are free to run it as they fit. Sajid Premadasa invited me several times to officially join the SJB, but I respectfully declined. I made it clear that I have no intention of becoming a member, nor do I aspire to any position such as deputy leader or any other leadership role within the SJB. My party is the Sri Lanka Freedom Party and my focus is on rebuilding and reorganizing it. In the future, once the SLFP is strengthened, we can consider broader political cooperation. I do intend to work as part of the Samagi Jana Sandhanaya, but independently. We are committed to revitalizing the SLFP and will continue working towards that goal.
Sri Lanka නිදහස් පක්ෂය අපි වෙනම සංවිධානය කරන්න අපි බලාපොරොත්තු තියෙනවා අනාගතයේදී ඒ සඳහා අපි වැඩ කරමු.
සජබේ ප්‍රධාන පන්තුරු වල යම්කිසි වෙනසක් විය යුතු කියලා පක්ෂයට යම් සිල්ලීම් කරා ජනතාව සිල්ලීමක් කරා අපි දැක්කා මේ වෙනකොට කිසි වෙනසක් වෙලා නැහැ. සමගි ජන බලවේගයේ වෙනසක් ඇති කිරීම නැත්නම්
Discussions will be held in the future regarding changes in the top leadership and even the restructuring of the party. We have already discussed this matter at length during our management committee meetings. More than simply bringing in new faces, it is important to change the party's ideology. How exactly this will be implemented will be discussed further by our working committee. There are indeed aspects within the SJB that needs to change. So we will explore how both the political movement and its ideologies can be reformed moving forward.
කරන ආකාරය පිළිබඳව තවදුරටත් සාකච්ඡා කරයි. පක්ෂ නායකත්ව වෙනසක් වෙන එකක් නැහැ. නෑ එහෙම උවමනාවක් නැහැ. ඒක මේ ස්වල්ප දෙනෙක්ගේ අදහසක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒක පක්ෂයට වඩා පක්ෂේ නොවන අයගේ අදහස්. ඉතින් අපි පක්ෂේ නොවන අයගේ අදහස් ගැන සැලකිල්ලක් දක්වන්න ඕන නැහැනේ.
Deputy General Secretary of Samagi Jana Balawegya, MP Mujibur Rahman, says that the SJB must undergo reforms. He made these remarks during an appearance on Shakti TV's Newsline program.
இந்த கட்சியை ரீஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ணக்கூடிய விஷயம் பாராளுமன்ற தேர்தலுக்கு பிறகு கட்சியில் இருக்கக்கூடிய உயர்மன்றத்திலே முடிவெடுத்தது. கட்சியை மறுபடியும் நாங்கள் ரீஆர்கனைஸ் பண்ண வேணும். இதிலே பதவிகள் மட்டுமல்ல, கட்சியுடைய எதிர்கால அரசியல் கொள்கைகளை பற்றி பல விடயங்களை பற்றி நாங்கள் பேச வேண்டும் என்று எல்லாரும் முடிவெடுத்தது. தலைவர் சஜித் பிரேமதாசகர்கள் இருந்து எல்லாரும் அதை ஏற்றுக்கொண்டிருக்கிறார்கள்.
எவ்வாறான விடயங்களில் மாற்றம் அவசியம் நீங்கள் நம்புகிறீர்கள்?
இப்படித்தான் நான் நினைக்கிறேன். பொதுவாக புது முகங்கள் வர வேணும் முன்னுக்கு. அதே போல கட்சியிலே இருக்கக்கூடிய சென இடங்களுக்கு புதுமுகங்கள் வர தேவையாக இருக்கிறது. அதே போல கட்சியின் கொள்கை, அரசியல் கொள்கை மாற்றங்கள் செய்ய வேண்டும்.
நீங்கள் தற்போது கட்சிக்கு புதியவர்களை இளம் உறுப்பினர்கள் இணைத்துக் கொள்ள வேண்டும் என்று கூறுகிறீர்கள். இந்த புதியவர்கள் என்பவர்கள் கட்சிக்கு உள்ளே இருக்கின்றார்களா அல்லது வெளியே இருக்கின்றார்களா?
இல்ல, கட்சி உள்ளேக்கும் இருக்கிறார். இப்ப நானும் புதியவர் தான்.
Imran Maharoof, Member of Parliament for the Trincomalee district from the Samagi Jana Balawegya, shared his views on the discussions surrounding the possible appointment of MP Dayasiri Jayasekara as the deputy leader of the SJB, as well as on decisions related to the party's leadership.
இது சம்பந்தமான விடயங்கள் நினைக்கின்றேன் எதிர்காலத்திலே அப்படி ஒன்று இருக்குமாக இருந்தால் அது அந்த கமிட்டியின் மூலமான
If such a matter exists, it is the working committee that will make a decision on it. At the same time, it is my personal opinion that the Samagi Jana Balawegya needs to be restructured. That is also what the people expect. The working committee is scheduled to meet next month. At this meeting, we will make decisions on who the leader is, whether someone new will be brought in or whether someone will be removed. Those decisions will be made at that time.
நீக்கப்பட போகின்றார்கள் என்ற விடயமெல்லாம் நான் நினைக்கின்றேன் அந்த கமிட்டியினூடாகத்தான் நாங்கள் தீர்மானிப்போம்.
Amir Ali, the chairman of the All Ceylon Makkal Congress, a partner party of the Samagi Jana Sandhana, says that he accepts that the opposition has weakened.
தேசியத்திலே இப்பொழுது இருக்கிற அரசியல் கட்சியோடு எதிர்த்து போராட வேண்டிய தேவை.
As a nation, there is a need to stand against the political parties currently in power. As partners of Sajid Premadasa and his coalition, we share that responsibility. However, we acknowledge that the position is weak at present. This needs to change moving forward. The Samagi Jana Balawegya must be strengthened and positioned well within our country. We believe Sajid Premadasa must lead in the right direction to make this happen. It is not just me. Many parties like ours are closely watching and supporting this effort.
எங்களை போன்ற மற்ற கட்சிகளும் அந்த பார்வையோடு தான் இருந்து கொண்டிருக்கிறது.
Mano Ganesan, leader of the Tamil Progressive Alliance, which is part of the Samagi Jana Sandhana, had the following to say.
Samagi Jana Sandhane උපනායකත්වයටද කොහෙද මේ දයාසිරි ජයසේකර මහත්මයායි තව කීප දෙනෙක් මේ එහෙම කතාවක් තියෙනවනේ දැන්.
No, we are part of the Samagi Jana Sandhana. Therefore, we cannot be involved in anything with the Samagi Jana Balawegya without being informed. We are not aware of what happens inside the SJB. The Balawegya and the Sandhana are two different entities.
මේ කියන්නේ දයාසිරි ජයසේකර මහත්මයා ගැන මොකද්ද ඔබතුමාගේ අදහස?
නෑ අපේ සගයා වැඩකාරයා කතිකයා.
He is our colleague, a hard worker and a good speaker. We enjoy listening to his speeches in Parliament. Not the government, but we do. There's no issue with him. He has youthful energy. Though I don't know his exact age. He certainly has that energy. He's capable and should continue working. However, I'm not aware of any positions within the alliance.
සන්දානේ තනතුරු ගැන මට දන්නේ නෑ.
ඒ කියන්නේ එහෙම එකකට ගැලපෙනවද හිතනවද එහෙම?
නෑ. ඒක සාකච්ඡා කරලා තියෙන කරන්න ඕනේ. ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෑ.
ඒ කියන්නේ එතුමා සුදුසුකමක් තියෙනවා කියලා
නෑ එහෙම ඊටපකම කියන්නේ උත්තර දෙන්න බෑනේ මම සුදුසුකම තියෙන එක තමයි යා.
I can't give an immediate answer just like that. But yes, he is someone who is qualified. That's what I can say. He is qualified. However, when it comes to appointments, there are others in the alliance who have been with us for a long time. TPA, SMC, ACMC, they are all part of the alliance. That's why we should all work together. I have no problem with that. If he receives a position, I would be happy for him.
Party lead Champika Ranavaka says that the Samagi Jana Balawegya could remain in the opposition for 30 more years under the leadership of Sajid Premadasa.
This
country now requires a new opposition. a new opposition that thinks differently and is on a new path. In 2024, the majority of the country's citizens made it clear that they are against the Convention Party or family-oriented political system. However, that does not mean that the older political parties are getting another chance.
He was also questioned on the change of leadership of the SJB.
That is not our concern. It is a matter related to the SJB. If they want, just like it was with Ranil Wickremesinghe, they too can stay with Sajith Premadasa for another 30 years.
Pupudu Jayagoda, the Education Secretary of the Frontline Socialist Party, says that ongoing efforts to strengthen the opposition are no different from trying to resurrect a corpse.
There is no opposition. Since there is no opposition, there is no point in talking about strengthening it. Because if there was an opposition, when an agreement is signed with India, the so-called opposition leader wouldn't go there, shake hands and gift a picture of a tiger. If there was a real opposition, Namal Rajapaksa wouldn't be going to India and participating in conferences like Rising Bharat with Modi. When it comes to the Indian agreement, there is no opposition. Then take the IMF program. Again, there is no opposition. Everyone says it looks good. Look at Harsha De Silva. He says it's good. They say, this is the way forward. Let's not stop this. Let us carry it out. There is no opposition at all. Why do we even call it an opposition? Take education reform. Who is standing against it? Who is objecting? No one. Then where is the opposition? There is none. So there is nothing to strengthen. The opposition has to be built from scratch. Those who sit in the seats reserved for the opposition inside Parliament are not the opposition. Unless the people build a new opposition outside Parliament, there is no point in trying to strengthen the one inside. It is like trying to resurrect a corpse. It's already dead. Now what we really need to do is not let it rot, but put it in a box and bury it.
Newsfirst with the people.
In a landmark move for Sri Lanka's music industry, M Entertainments, the country's largest music label, has signed a strategic partnership with Devo, a Warner Music India company.
M Entertainments, the nation's largest music label, has entered into a strategic partnership with Devo, a subsidiary of Warner Music India. Representing the companies at the signing were Jay Mehta, Managing Director of Warner Music India and SARC, Shivan Daniel, Group Director of the Maharaja Media Network, Shahir Munir, Managing Director of Devo, and Frederick Dissanayake, CEO of M Entertainments. Devo, a digital media and music powerhouse in South India and now a part of Warner Music India, has built a strong track record in developing independent South Asian artists across platforms. Combined with Warner Music's global distribution strength and M Entertainment's dominant local presence, this deal signals a powerful new chapter for Sri Lanka's creative economy.
Sri Lanka's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herath, met with Indian actor Ravi Mohan and singer Kenisha Francis yesterday to discuss boosting Sri Lanka's film tourism and international collaboration.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijitha Herath met with Indian actor and producer Ravi Mohan and singer Kenisha Francis at the National Film Corporation of Sri Lanka. The discussion focused on enhancing Sri Lanka's film tourism potential and promoting local film industry development through international collaboration. Minister Herath noted that the government's commitment to policy reforms aimed at attracting foreign film productions to Sri Lanka. The chairman of the National Film Corporation, Sudat Mahadevulvava, also participated in the meeting, which highlighted the role of cinema and music in advancing tourism, cultural exchange and economic growth.
All producers must go to various institutions and departments and it will delay 6-7 months, and just because they also have to make arrangements and everything.
St. Benedict's College Colombo marked its 160th anniversary with a vehicle parade.
The streets of Colombo came alive as St. Benedict's College marked its 160th anniversary with a spectacular car parade and carnival. The parade began in Bambalapitiya and made its way to the St. Benedict's College grounds, where celebrations continued. The historic event saw Benedictines, past and present, to rally together and celebrate 160 years of legacy and unity.
Syria and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire following days of escalating violence and deadly airstrikes. Meanwhile, the Syrian presidency says that it will deploy a new force to halt the sectarian clashes in the south.
U.S. Ambassador to Turkey Tom Barak announced that Syria and Israel have agreed to a ceasefire, drawing an uneasy truce between the neighbors after days of airstrikes and sectarian bloodshed in Syria's southwestern Suwaida region. Barak said early today that the ceasefire between Syria and Israel was supported by Washington and embraced by Turkey, Jordan and Syria's neighbors. The ceasefire comes after Israel launched airstrikes at Syria on Wednesday, which Israel said were aimed at protecting the Druze, an Arab religious minority. Israel's airstrikes on Damascus targeted several government buildings, with authorities saying at least 3 people were killed. The Syrian presidency says it will deploy a new force to halt the deadly sectarian clashes between Bedouin and Druze fighters in the south of the country. Syrian interim president Ahmad al-Shara's office urged all parties to exercise restraint amid reports of renewed fighting near the city of Suwaida yesterday. Almost 600 people are reported to have been killed since the violence erupted on Sunday.
Trinity College Kandy defeated St. Thomas's College Mount Lavinia in the 2025 Inter-School League Rugby Tournament. The match was played as part of the race for the championship title.
Both teams took to the field today, aiming to secure the Canon RSD Serum Shield. The match was played at the St. Thomas's College grounds in Mount Lavinia. Trinity College Kandy dominated the first half, scoring 29 points to St. Thomas's 12. In the second half, both teams added 7 points each to their tally. However, the effort from St. Thomas's College was not enough to turn the tide. Trinity College Kandy emerged victorious with a final score of 36-19. Trinity scored 6 tries and successfully converted 3 of them, while St. Thomas's managed only 3 tries and 2 conversions. As a result, Trinity College retained the Canon RSD Serum Shield once again. With this win, Trinity College continues to lead the points table in the Inter-School League Rugby Tournament, remaining unbeaten. Yes FM of the MTV MBC Media Network is the official radio partner of the Trinity College rugby team for this year's Inter-School League Rugby Tournament.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Good night.